Oh, geez. There you go, guys. It's good to see you all. Oh, do I miss you guys? Yeah, you betcha. I'm here today in the Crossroads of America. This city is considered the Crossroads of America, and I came here specifically to discuss the new unit that we're going to be starting with you guys. Now, first of all, before we get into what the new unit is, if you can figure out what this city is, the Crossroads of America, I'll be very impressed. I'll give you a hint. Here's your first clue as to what this city is called. Well, it's called, like we said, the Crossroads of America, but here's a hint. Nationwide stars and race cars. We'll get to what that clue means later. But at any rate, our new unit is solving systems of equations. Now, systems of equations means whenever you have one or two or three different linear equations all graphed together. So when we have our graph, a coordinate plane and a graph, and we have multiple lines all graphed on the same coordinate plane. Now we know that when we look at an equation, something like y equals 2x plus 3, that makes a line, and every point on that line is a solution, a combination of an x and a y that solve that equation. So if we have a system of equations, we have one line, all the points are a solution for that equation, and we have another line where all the points are a solution for that equation. When we're solving a system, we're going to be looking for a point that solves both equations. Can you figure out if we have one line and we have another line, how we'd know what solves both of them? Well, clearly it's going to be where those two lines cross, because it's that one point that both of those lines share as a solution. So we say that the solution to the system is the point where the two lines cross. Now we're going to get involved and show you a few different examples of how that all works in just a minute. But here's another clue as to what this city is. Remember, the Crossroads of America, because there's a lot of roads crossing, hence the connection. Here's just next clue. 500 Colts. All right, we're going to work on some examples, and after the examples, we'll come back and we'll have the big reveal as to what this city is. So here we have a system of equations. We have two equations, y equals x minus 5 and y equals negative 2x minus 2. Remember, each of these are a linear equation, therefore they're going to make a line, and every point on that line represents a solution, a set of ordered pairs in x and y that solve that equation when plugged in. So what we need to do is we need to graph each one of these individually. Let's start with y equals x minus 5. The two pieces of information we always need are our slope and our y-intercept to graph. Now our slope with this one, because we see just an x, that means that there's a 1 being multiplied by the x. So our slope is 1, which we write as 1 over 1. Our y-intercept is negative 5. That means that this line crosses the y-axis here at negative 5. Our slope being 1 over 1 tells us our change in y over change in x. So we're going to go up 1 and then to the right 1. So up 1 and to the right 1, up 1 and to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1. And you can see we've got all these points that are solutions to that equation. Now when we connect these, do it the best I can without a ruler, we see that this is the line y equals x minus 5. Next, we got a graph on the same coordinate plane. We're going to graph the line y equals negative 2x minus 2. So once again, we need to identify our slope and our y-intercept. Our slope here is negative 2, which we can write as negative 2 over 1. Our y-intercept is that negative 2 from right here. And now we can graph. Go to negative 2 on the y-axis because that's our y-intercept. And now our slope means negative 2 over 1. So that means down 2, 1, 2, positive 1. Down 2, positive 1. Now I want some points over here as well. So remember, we can also do our slope like this, which means up 2 and then left 1, up 2 and left 1. And we can see that we have a line that looks like this. Now what we have to remember is that every point that's on this red line solves the equation y equals negative 2x minus 2. They're all combinations of x and y that solve that equation. And every point that's on this black line solves the equation y equals x minus 5. We're looking for the point that solves both of them. Well, I think we can clearly see that the point that solves both of them is going to be this guy right here. And that's the ordered pair, 1 for my x, comma, negative 4 for my y. And what we'll see is if we plug those two values in to this equation, 1 minus 5 is negative 4, it makes it true. And if I plug it into this bottom equation, 1 times negative 2 is negative 2, minus 2 is negative 4. It solves this equation, and it solves this equation. So that, right there, we say is the solution for this system. All right, let's do another one of those and see how it goes. So let's say we have two equations, y equals negative 2x plus 5. That's an ugly looking 2. And we need to find our slope, negative 2, which is like negative 2 over 1. And our y-intercept is 5. We can graph this line. We go to 5. And my slope is negative 2 over 1. So down 2, positive 1. 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 This is our line, whoa, for y equals negative 2x plus 5. And remember, every point on that line solves that equation. The second line in our system is going to be y equals 2/3 x minus 3. Our slope is 2/3. Our y-intercept is negative 3. So we go to negative 3. Our slope is 2 over 3. So that means go up 2, change in y, up 2, and then right 3, change in x. Oop, I think I found my solution. Up 2, right 3. Up 2, oh, we're out of room. So over here, I want some points on the left side, so I can also go down to negative 3, down 2, negative 3. And we can see our line right here. And again, remember, every point on that line solves the equation y equals 2x minus 3. Every point on the black line solves y equals negative 2x plus 5. We're looking for the point that solves both of them. Clearly, it's this point right here. That point is our solution. And our ordered pair is 3, comma, negative 1. And we can plug those in. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, plus 5 is negative 1. If I plug in here, 2/3 of 3 is 2, minus 3 is negative 1. That solves that one as well. Clearly, that's our solution. So systems of equations is whenever we have two or more lines that are graphed on the same set of coordinate planes. That's what a system of equation is. When we want to find the solution for that system, what we're looking at is what value solves both of them. And as we saw, that if all the points on any given line are solutions for that equation, and all the points on a different line are the solutions for that equation, the point where they cross is going to be the solution for the system. So back to the city I was standing at the beginning. Well, I gave you some clues, and I mentioned it's considered the crossroads of America. Well, I'll tell you this, the state that has their slogan as Crossroads of America is Indiana. Much like we're the Granite State, Indiana is considered the crossroads of America. But specifically, the city that's called the Crossroads of America is right here. It's Indianapolis. And the reason it's called the Crossroads of America is if you look at here, look at all these different major highways from all over the US, from the north, the south, the east, and the west. They all converge right here at that one point. It's kind of like a system of equations where all these lines intersect at that one point. The one thing that all these highways share in common is the city of Indianapolis. So that's where we were, seemed appropriate. Now, what about those clues? Did you pick them up? The first clue I gave you was Nationwide Star and Race Cars. So Nationwide is Peyton Manning, I believe, is the spokesperson for Nationwide Insurance. He does a lot of these commercials, and he played for the Indianapolis Colts. Why race cars? Well, Indianapolis is home of the Indianapolis 500. That's a race that races there in Indianapolis every year. And that leads us to the other clue I gave you at the end, the 500 Colts. The 500 being the Indianapolis 500 and the Colts being the professional football team that plays in Indianapolis. So as always, if you're having any questions, please reach out to us. There's going to be some Khan Academy videos that are attached to this as well for instruction. They're long, they're detailed, but watch them. Really full of good information, good review on how to plot your lines and how to determine what your solution is. There's also a small assignment that's going to be given to you guys in Big Ideas as well. Might be a little bit tricky, but the big thing is we're trying to look at a set of graphs and match them with the system. Think about what each line would look like when we graph them and try to find out what the solution is. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon.